Welcome, everybody, to Two Brothers Fishing Podcast here on the Hickman Outdoors YouTube channel, presented by American Legacy Fishing. World-class fishing gear, unmatched personal service. Why am I bringing them up tonight? Because tonight's the last night of the Black Friday sale. And you're going to get discounts on stuff that you normally wouldn't get discounts on. Saw somebody today posting on Facebook that they were getting some Megabass deals when Megabass doesn't normally do deals. Give Graham and the crew a call at American Legacy Fishing. Save some money on your favorite Shimano, G. Loomis, Dobbins, whatever you want. When it comes to rod and reels, you know they're going to have it. ALF also has the best trade-in program and the most extensive collection of used gear that you can find online. And don't forget, if you're in Evansville, Indiana, stop by and check out the newly remodeled showroom. Now that we got all that stuff out of the way, let's hop right in and talk to our guest tonight, Drew Gregory. Drew, the fishing fam that's going to be watching along tonight, they follow some tournament guys and some they don't. But, you know, everybody has their favorite YouTubers out there. For those who may not have met you before, you've got some hardware sitting around you. You're not just a guy who floats around in your Crescent Shoaly casting at every stump with the whopper plopper, catching donks of smallies, but you're also a heck of a stick. You offer some classes and all that. Talk a little bit about your background, your tournament resume, and then we're going to get into the fun stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'll keep this quick because, man, I feel like I'm aging myself now because I could sit here and probably talk about 20-something years worth of doing stuff in this industry. But to keep it short, man, I'm just a guy that loves to kayak fish, and that's how I got into doing this full time. Just like everybody, listening here today, I just love to kayak fish so much that I somehow decided to go that route with a career. And yeah, it's not like you're going to get rich doing this, but like you guys, man, you meet the coolest people and you have just the best time, lower stress, kind of work life, no one's going to live or die based on anything that I do. But hopefully we just help people have a good time and enjoy God's beautiful creation. And I've been doing that since I started, quit my job full time at a university in South Carolina and went to work for Jackson Kayak and ran that river bass and tournament trail. Designed a lot of cool kayaks with Jackson, had a great time for 10 years there, and ended up at Crescent after the whole COVID thing kind of blew up everything, and found myself fishing tournaments, like you said. And the next thing you know, I ended up just winning a bunch of stuff and being very successful on that side of things. And I think it was partly just due to the fact that, I was traveling a lot with Jackson all over the country and doing the river bass and tournament trail all over the country, and a YouTube TV show that I did. It aired on some other places as well, but called Hooked on Wild Waters. And then it helped me become just a very versatile angler. No matter where I went, I was comfortable with greenfish, brownfish, moving water, flat water, whatever it was, vegetation. I kind of clear water, murky water, kind of had seen it all. So I guess it helped me, traveling on the tournament side of things. And I actually, won a couple Angler of the Years. I got the Hobie AOY. It's probably out of the camera here, but the Hobie and Bassmaster. And I attribute winning the Angler of the Year to being able to fish all over the country, not being freaked out by anything. Seriously, because that's going to help you be consistent. Because some people are really good at their home bodies of water and their home region and state because they're familiar with it. But then all of a sudden they go and travel to Texas or Michigan or wherever, and they're like a little bit lost. So that's just kind of the story, man. I'm designing some cool kayaks with Crescent now, and working on this new Kayak Adventure Series, which I'm sure we're going to get into. And on today's show, big time. So yeah, where do you guys want to start, man? I'm excited about it.
Well, let's back up. I mean, Jeremy and I both fish, with Old Town, and that's just where we've grown our comfort level from. But
Sponsor,
I mean, honestly,
by the way, of the Kayak Adventure Series, Old Town.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome, because we love Ryan and we love everything that Old Town does. And we love the fact that they've really gone and reached out to more of the grassroots organizations and stuff like that too. So for me, it's not all about, this kayak versus that kayak. Whatever gets you on the water, get you chasing fish. That's what we want everybody to do. Find the best brands that you can afford, find what suits your skill set, and work your way from there. I mean, the Crescent Shoaly, I've already seen comments tonight that they've seen, they've seen you with Alex Rudd and others, John from Creek Fishing Adventures. Jeremy and I just got back from the Knucklehead tournament where John was there with the team, and, everybody enjoying just depends. Some people just love a paddle kayak with simple or no electronics and some rods, and they just go to
Yep.
town. And of course, others like me with the Kayak fully loaded as you can get, because I'm a bigger guy and I want to stay afloat, But we talk about tournament fishing as a way and a fun way to get people together. And I think you've come up with a unique idea that is going to be different, but well, I mean, let's
Yeah.
just stop right there. Let you tell us, what is the Kayak Adventure Series all about, and why would the folks who just love to go fish, why would they be interested in something like this? Tell us what you guys got cooked up going and coming up for
Sure.
this year.
Sure, guys. Let me tell you. So what you just said is the perfect lead into it. And it's really all about diversity. You know what I mean? There's so many different ways to fish out of a quote kayak. Some of them are more mini bass boats, and that's
Yep.
okay. I celebrate that. I think that's awesome. We're all different. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Some people prefer a smaller, lightweight boat for dragging through, the woods to get to, in some wildlife management area to get to some cool pond or lake or creek or whatever. But we should celebrate that, not pigeonhole fishing. Like that's what, Bassmaster and Major League Fishing, the bass boat world's kind of having a problem with now. They're seeing that if at any point the tournaments become very predictable, it becomes boring. Like, oh, it's going to get one with somebody staring down at a screen. It's not that great for TV. So the Kayak Adventure Series is all about, like, we're the opposite. We're like, hey, we want to celebrate all styles of kayak fishing, all personalities, because we're all different, and allow all of it, because there's just, until we see some sort of pattern where all of a sudden, hey, every single event is being won by this certain way, like they thought the Alabama rig was going to do to professional fishing. Oh, we got to outlaw this because otherwise every single tournament will be won the exact same way. And I always use this analogy because it just makes the most sense. Most people watch football. They like football, right? I mean, come on. We all like football. We know if you took the pass away, let's say too many receivers were getting hit across the middle on their way to catching the ball, defenseless receiver, and they said, guys, we just got to take the pass out of football. Wouldn't that be like way boring if it was just a run play every time? And essentially it's just rugby at that point, right?
Right.
So the Kayak Adventure Series realizes, and my background is in sports management. I have a master's degree, so I understand what makes things exciting and what gives us, as you guys as media, cool, and the fans, cool storylines, is when an event can be won in multiple ways. So a team can be, there's been teams in football that have been just super run heavy in defense. They're just defensive and they run it. They hardly ever pass. They try to kill the clock. And there's teams that are the opposite. Tom Brady back in his days, they were throwing it 60 times a game. Their whole game plan was hardly to run it hardly at all. Mm-hmm. But that was cool for the fans. That was awesome for everybody because it's diverse. There's so many ways you could skin a cat. And in bass fishing, the beauty is, especially with kayak fishing, there are so many ways you can look at a body of water and take it on. And maybe you're forced to take it on in a $300 or $400 kayak because that's just all the money you got because you're in college or you're just out of college. You just don't have a lot of money or whatever reason. The cool thing is if we keep allowing stuff like that to happen in our sport, it's what you just said. People will graduate to the old towns eventually. You know what I mean? No one's, you get out of college, you get your first job. I get it. But eventually you build up a little money, you get yourself a nice old town, nice Crescent, new canoe, whatever it is. You just pop in the next greatest thing. Bonafide, lots of good brands are part of this Kayak Adventure Series. And that's the other part, is we're trying to unify just the whole thing, everybody as much as possible, get a lot of different kayak brands on board. This isn't a Crescent thing. This isn't even a Drew thing. I know I started it, so it's going to be hard to get away from that sort of tag. This is Drew's thing because, but I'm trying to get more folks like you guys, Alex Rudd, a bunch of other influencers involved, YouTubers, and just feel like this is everybody's thing. This is for kayak fishing. So that's kind of it. It's open to everybody, but the way it works is you've got it's not complicated to understand, but it is different. Okay. The tournaments actually there's only 6. Guys, there's 6 across the whole country. And think about it like this. It's laid back. It's a less of a, entry, less of a barrier to entry in terms of money, because there's a lot of ways you can enter in different divisions, things like that, but not too many. It's just a 2-man team division, which is cool because you can ride with somebody and save a little gas. Yep. So the X2, I'm wearing an X2 shirt right here. So X2 is the 2-man team division, times 2.
There you
And
go.
yeah, so times two, the two main team division, it's just $150 between both of you. So it's just $75 a person. So if you just don't have the $250 or $300 for these other large national trails, and let's face it, no one starts out just like, especially your audience, if you're saying they're kind of new to this, no one just starts out going into the Bassmaster Kayak Series. You got to build your way up anyway. So this is like a nice lead in to that. You could just do that 2-man team division, or you could enter the team division and the individual division, which is also $150. So if you want to enter them both, between your $75 for the team and your $150 for the individual, you're up to $225. So you could certainly walk away with a decent, check at the end of this thing if you win, especially if you win on both sides, assuming your teammate doesn't blow it. If you win the individual and your teammate doesn't just blow it, you're probably going to get a check. Back with the River Bass and Tournament Trail I did, usually if I brought somebody up for winning the team division, it's more likely than not you'd see them on stage in the individual as well. So, and then besides that, we also honor and award, I should say, the top youth, and we have a lower price for the top youth, and they get to enter the entire event with everybody else for $75. And then the top female, which is going to be actually sponsored by the Women's Fishing Federation, that Amanda Brandon and a bunch of awesome women in our sport are pushing hard and growing strong. So they're sponsoring that side of things. So there's a lot of different ways to win. There's even, let's say you're having a bad event or you just choose to go this route, there's even a 5 smallest bass. So your 5 smallest bass is called, there you go. It's called the Z-Man Power Finesse Baits Micro Bag Division. So we're calling that the micro bag. And it really is just, hey, if you're having a bad tournament, it's not going your way, switch to the smallest 5. And it's not like you win a bag of baits. No, I'm talking like money is pushed over. And we're trying to pay out 15 total percent, with 5% of the 15 being for the micro bag, and 10%, which is kind of industry standard, going towards the top 10%, right, for the 5 biggest. So the micro bag's fun. Some people are going to, decide they're going to go for that the whole tournament because not as many people are going to be shooting for that. So it could be a little sneaky strategy, but there is a 5-inch minimum on those 5 bass. So you can't, you got to have a bass.
Love having a Dink Master division. I love this.
It's it's going to be a ton of fun. Have you guys actually ever tried to target the smallest bass?
We have some side pots every now and then, and it's wild what we come up with.
It's a lot of fun, and you can see obviously I've had some tournament success, and we're obviously after the biggest fish. But I tried it one day on the I was doing a site visit for the Kayak Adventure Series on the North Branch of the Susquehanna in Towanda, where we're going to have our Fiesta on the Susky event in August. And I was like, let me just try this, because I was like literally like a kid in a candy store, just having a blast all day long. I was out there with the family because you can't stop. It's great because you can sight fish for them. You can see them. You're like, oh, there's a 5, or you look away and you're like, oh, that's a 9, that's an 8. Like, I don't want to throw it in. And you throw it over there, they all kind of live together. And it's this challenge of like, can I get the 5 to eat and not at the 7 or 8? Because trust me, it's not hard to catch 8, 9s, and 10s. We know that from trying to catch 20s.
Oh, yeah.
You catch 8, 9s, and 10s all the time on all kinds of baits, spinner baits, whopper ploppers, whatever. But they'll hit it. But all of a sudden I realize it changes when you're trying to catch a 5 is drastically different than an 8, 5 and a 7, but I'm talking like 5 to 7. It's harder than you think, which is crazy because if you go the opposite direction, you go big, it's harder to catch a 20 than it is a 16, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because it's the opposite direction. It's so true. You can't just go out there with your just smaller versions of your baits and think it's going to work. You actually have to get very strategic on how to do it. The membrane on their mouth and their skin, you can't just bring them in like you can a 9 or 10 and they just come right in the boat, because they get off real easy. Your whole rod reel setup, it changes from that 5 to 7 inch range. I'm telling you guys now, and you're lucky you're listening and watching this show, because I'm giving some tips on that micro bag. You have to change your whole setup. I think guys are going to use fly rods. It's going to be a lot of fun to see it go down. But anyway, ultralights with those Z-Man micro finesse baits are really good. You got to get really small hooks, I promise. But it's not as easy as you think, because fish are only 5 inches for so long, because they spawn, they grow pretty quick. So it's hard to find a 5 and 6, which is really what you need to win. Now, if someone catches the Holy Grail, the 25-inch limit, I'm going to be shocked if someone actually pulls that off at the Kayak Adventure Series. So we had to put a minimum of 5 because we wanted to make sure we can see if someone's trying to score a duplicate fish. So you have to be big enough at least to tell, what it is. And you can only have one finger on the fish.
One finger.
You can cover one finger has to be on the fish. And the other thing that I haven't mentioned, and there's so many cool things. You guys will definitely have to go back and watch some of our other videos, and we will be doing a monthly or even bi-weekly Kayak Adventure Series live stream as well to kind of go over all this stuff. But the whole thing basically starts out on a Thursday night, and I'm going to explain why we started on Thursday and why, because this has been a big topic, the biggest sort of, not debate, but the one thing that I see people talk about the Kayak Adventure Series, because our event starts on Friday. The actual tournament's on Friday, but the opening ceremonies is Thursday. So when I say Thursday, our event starts by the check-in and registration, whatever you want to call it, at the opening ceremonies on Thursday. And then the actual tournament starts Friday afternoon. So you actually have a 4-hour Friday afternoon session of fish, and then Saturday it's all day like a normal tournament, but it's still just 5 fish. So somebody said, man, I love the whole concept. It was amazing. The whole thing. We'll get into it more about the festival, what's going on, the theaters, how we're going to be doing our awards in these cool historic theaters. But they were just bummed. They were like, man, I love all that. I think it's amazing, but it makes me have to take off work on Friday to do it. And then and take off more vacation, they said. And I'm like, well, wait a second now. Let me explain why I actually think the format for the Kayak Adventure Series allows people to take less vacation than the typical tournament formats. Because here's why. We have a 2-week practice window before 2 weekends prior, Fridays prior to that tournament Friday. You can fish and practice fishing any 4 days you want. You pick the 4 days. It's your choice. Any 4 days you want. That's your choice. Which means if you are, let's say you're, 1, 2, 3, 4, even 5 hours away, you can go drive, not using work hours or vacation time, to that location, right? And fish on Saturday and Sunday. Get pre-fishing in. That's 2 days. That first weekend, the 2-week window opens, right, for the 4 days. And then you could go back home and work. And then you can go back again the next weekend. Fish 2 more days. That's total. That's your 4 days right there. You took 0 vacation time and you practiced for 4 days. Then all you have to do is take a half day or a whole day, depending on how far away you live, for that Friday that the tournament starts. That's all the vacation time you got to spend, because guess what? Our tournament ends, if it's a Friday afternoon and Saturday, it ends on Saturday, which means if you're in the money and you're, some tournaments that are held on, 2-day tournaments or single days that are held on Sunday and they're far away, it's hard for a lot of people to get back home. So they have to take a day off work Monday. And even if they can make it, they get back so late, they're exhausted, they got to unload, unpack. Your kind of Monday is shot. And it's a lot easier for people to take Friday off of work than it is Monday. I think we can all agree on that. It's a slower work day. So this allows us to do a couple things. It was very critical to me and to everybody that kind of lives and believes in the same, mantra this series, is all about, is the fellowship and the camaraderie. And ending on Saturday is critical for that, because if you end on Sunday, no one's going to be at the results and the awards to, applaud and cheer on their friends and that are getting trophies and cash and checks. So like I said, Thursday, opening ceremonies, live music, food trucks, games, all that fun stuff going on. Friday, tournament doesn't start till 3, but optional Friday morning, we have the breakfast seminar series. And that's what's really cool, because again, it's all about, like you guys are kind of appealing to the beginner, the intermediate audience out there, right? I'm going to bring in at every one of these tournament stops, and I'll pull the website up and show you guys in a minute what the website looks like and what a tournament page looks like. And it's easy to follow. An entire itinerary is already laid out and done. And I've even have the seminar speakers for most of these locations set and done. So Friday morning, total optional. So if you want to come and bring some rods and reels and spool up and rig up and eat breakfast, we have an optional seminar series. We'll have 3 seminars of 45 minutes apiece, 3 different speakers, celebrities that you guys all probably follow along and look up to. We talked about Jeff Little already, so Jeff will be doing some. I'll do some, I'm sure. And we'll have some fisheries biologists, some people like that, some social media influencers, some YouTubers that are really, really good or have gotten super big. And those guys will give tips and input for the anglers on how to grow their channel. So lots of good information is being shared. This isn't just a tournament. This is a whole weekend of, I don't even know how to like describe it. It's not a tournament. It's not a festival. It's not a conference, but it's sort of like all of it kind of wrapped up into one. So that's a cool thing happened on Friday. That'll end around 12:30. Plenty of time for you to go back, run shuttles if you have to run a shuttle, or, get rigged up, last minute stuff, and get on the water by 3:00. So 3:00 to 7:00 is the afternoon sesh, is what we call it. And then go to bed. Nothing happens Friday night, but a quick little recap meeting. And then the other crazy thing, by the way, before I get off the Friday session, is a 4-hour window on an event like this one that I haven't mentioned yet allows lakes and rivers and creeks to all be in play. Portaging and dragging over, natural obstacles, anything natural, like rapids, logs, things like that. We want to keep you guys safe out there. So if you don't feel safe running that rapid or going under a log that's a strainer, to me, that's a safety thing. You got to let people get out and do what they, why they got a kayak, which gives them the ability to do that and portage over stuff. So, and you don't have to worry if you see somebody doing something and getting out of their kayak. Well, they're not breaking any rules. That's all legal. That's why you got a kayak. So you can launch at any public access point. So Friday, why I bring this up in that little cool 4-hour session, you can't do a 12-mile float trip on 4 hours on a river or creek, right? So it adds this extra element of strategy into the mix. Maybe you just target the micro bag on Friday, or maybe you go somewhere new, which brings up another point about no vacation, or less vacation, I should say. You could go blind on Friday to somewhere totally new because your practice didn't go so good in other spots, right? And you got one spot that's pretty good you want to save for Saturday. Maybe you want to go somewhere different on Friday just because it's just 5 fish. So worst case, you go there, it doesn't pan out to be much of anything. You got all day Friday at your other spot, right? All day. But if it does pan out to be something really good, then you've got an extra spot to use on Saturday, and those fish go to your bottom line, to the 5 fish. There's no need to save fish. I hate when you go to a tournament and it's a bummer. You got to like lay off the fishing. It's like, man, that's what I came for. Like, just keep setting hooks and having fun. When it's 5 fish for 2 days, you never have to lay off the fish ever, because you could win the whole thing in the first 30 minutes or first hour. And, you just keep setting the hook and keep going because you don't have to save anything. So anyway, that's Friday. Saturday, it's all day, sunrise basically to 3 p.m. And then before you guys are even off the water, we're going to have the festival going back at tournament headquarters at our host city. The festival is outside, merchandise tents, games again, Toyota truck demos. Toyota's a sponsor. We've got GoPro. GoPro's going to come and do some activations with some of their people with their cameras. They're the headline sponsor of this whole thing. And we're going to have kayak demos. Like I said, truck demos, food, music, drinks, bouncy houses for kids, all kinds of just fun activities going on for everyone to socialize. Which actually I did forget to mention the cool thing about starting it on Friday afternoon. The opening ceremony is on Thursday. Again, about fellowship. It allows you to, sometimes you go to a check-in, you got to get going, for tournaments right away, because you got to get back to your Airbnb and rig up, because you got to get up at 4 a.m. Well, by starting in the evening, it allows the anglers to only have one day they have to wake up early, which, no one loves to wake up that early. Let's face it. And you do it multiple days in a row. It's pretty taxing. You're pretty whipped. You're like ready for the event just to be over. You're like, I can't wait for it to be over, regardless of how you're doing sometimes. But it allows just one early morning and the ability to just be having a good time on Thursday as late as you want into the night, and just fellowshipping, getting to know each other, and developing those friendships that we really would love to see come from this, because, we're kind of a digital world these days. Even a lot of our friendships is digital, back and forth on these things. And like we're talking now, and that's just it's not normal. It's not the way our bodies were made. It's not the way God made us as people. And I'm like, hey, let's bring back some of this, any fellowship, in any way I can make a tournament format help us have more time to connect and really develop those friendships. I'm going to do it. So that's why it's so critical that Thursday night's opening ceremonies, we don't start till late on Friday, which just no reason to hang out all Thursday night as late as you want, and then if you have too much to drink or whatever, you get a little crazy, that's fine. You can sleep it off the next day. You don't have to come to the optional breakfast seminar. But come there and get some coffee and get woken up if you want. But Saturday, same thing is happening. So we're going to end this puppy on Saturday because we want people to be there to celebrate and, their friends, like I said, getting their awards and a bunch of people in the crowd. It's a bummer that, most of these events, the top 10% that get paid are really the only ones that come back. I mean, you got a few extra people that come for sure, especially if they live close by and you don't have to get home for work, but there's not many more than just the top 10% they're getting paid. And I miss that. I think that's kind of a bummer. And so that's what we're doing. We're going to these cool historic theaters in all these cities. And that's where, after the festival's over, we'll all go to that theater, and that's where the awards are going to be held. I'll be on stage with Alex Rudd. We'll be emceeing the events. I'm not sure if he's going to be at everyone, but certainly some of them. I might have some guest MCs with me, who knows, in some of these. And we'll just get up there and make people laugh and have fun. And you might ask, well, why theaters? Guys, theaters, it's pretty cool because it gives us a consistent location for each, awards. It's just consistent. It's kind of the way the Bassmaster Elite Series stage is part of their truck. They open it up. It's consistent. It looks the same every time. Obviously, we'll be in a different theater, but that's what's cool. We get to adventure in different parts of the country. But it gives us a consistent, we know we're going to be at a theater. We know we have a giant screen behind us. Therefore, we are going to be getting video clips from you guys, the anglers, and from my production team who's going to be there filming out there in the water with drones and doing the best they can to follow along. Jeff Little is one of them. Jake Hepner, Illinois, Yakin, the real yak dragger, if you know Ryan, he'll be there as well. Tyler Bean, they're all part of this crew. They're helping me capture a lot of cool stuff out there on the water. And then any cool clips we get from the event are going to be put on that big screen. So that's one reason why we're using that. Plus, if you guys take your GoPros out and film, and I hope you do, and I hope this encourages you, if you've been on the fence about ever filming, to begin learning that process, because you're going to have a chance to be on that big screen, in that theater. And that's pretty cool. We're not going to be able to show every clip, obviously. If the top 10 might walk across the stage, and we'll ask them questions and we'll show a clip, of theirs. I'm sure we'll get a few crazy wild clips here and there that aren't from anybody in the top 10. We'll put it on the screen if it's good enough or something funny or wild happens and they submit it to us. But you guys are kind of being part of the production for us as well. So we'll put that on the screen. It gives us something to see and talk about with you when we're interviewing you on the stage. And it keeps it a little bit lighter. It's kind of heavy when it's just you and there's not anything kind of visually there. And it just is, we're going to make you guys laugh and keep it light. This isn't something you ever need to be stressed or nervous about coming on stage and whatnot. I know some people that's tough, speaking in front of people or being on a stage can be tough, but we're going to make sure we're laughing, having a good time, keeping it light. Plus, my favorite part about the theater, guys, is the fact that you never know what weather's going to be like. And typically it's hot in the summer when a lot of these events are. We're going to be in the air conditioning. We're going to be having food and beverages and drinks inside these theaters. We're going to be in stadium, comfortable seats. This is nice, man. This is going to be nice to bring friends and family in there, and it's going to be just a lot of fun. So that's kind of the gist of it. After the whole thing is over, some folks like you guys, some of the media, the podcasters, we're going to have a little post-game press conference where you guys can be there to ask questions, do short little interviews, get little sound bites, talk to the angler some, and invite them on your podcast for a longer, podcast. But just to be right there so you guys can help us get some of the word out about what happened right off the bat. And that'll be a lot of fun. But then we go to a designated after party location at each event. And again, it's because it's just Saturday. We can go party and celebrate the night away. We may push you on stage or do some karaoke or something, or you might get thrown into who knows what sort of activities that night. But that's what that night's all about, just to celebrate the fun we had and just let loose, because we don't got to get up early the next day. And it's Sunday. You can drive back home. You can, sleep in a little bit, drive home.
Yep.
Regardless if you got even a long drive, you can still make it. So that's kind of it. I know you guys probably have some questions, or maybe some questions from the comments.
So real quick too, just to kind of make off on your point too, because like you actually touched on this earlier, if you are interested in starting your YouTube channel and you're wanting to go out and meet all of these folks, so that you could, invite them on your show. I mean, I've had Russ Snyder's on a couple times, Chad, Gene, Christine. We've had quite an extensive list of guests over the last couple of years. And literally that started from Jeremy and I going out to the KBF NC and having a good time and just walking up, meeting people, and we've formed partnerships with American Legacy and Do It and Old Town and the others that we work with, just because we showed up to places and talked to people, and we fish and try to compete as well. But being there and talking to people is really how you form these relationships. And sometimes even word of mouth, if Drew wanted to, like, who are these two clowns, he could go back and look at our playlist. Oh, he's had other people I know on there,
right?
They might be worth chit chatting with, because they've got 30,000 people that might want to listen and come out and try this Kayak Adventure Series. We've had great conversations with Jeff Little and others just by being there. So again, if you're out there listening and you're wanting to get into doing kind of what we're doing, show up, bring a camera, have some questions, talk to people, having the nerve to be able to walk up and have conversation. Jeremy goes nuts every time we see Christine, because she'll walk up and give me a hug, and he's like, yeah. But I mean, that's how she and I met. Same with Jody Queen, Matt Ball, and others. Just not being afraid to walk up and talk to people. So and events like this, y'all, is going to be a great way to be able to do things like this too. So I am going to go ahead and share your screen.
Yeah, this is the website here, guys. You can kind of see. Let me go back. It's going to toggle back to this main one here. All right, so this is the very first one. So you go on the website. It's live now. You guys can check it out, kayakadventureseries.com. You got the homepage, the about page, obviously the 4 anglers. You can check out the rules. You can there's no standings, so obviously we haven't started, but the team of the year and the angler of the year will be crowned at our final event. But let's take a look at some of the events here real quick. So we started actually, I'll just click on this page here and you guys can see the first event is May 3rd and 4th. It's called Shoalie Palooza, and that is a really cool event because it's in Thomaston, Georgia, and that is all about catching the elusive and bucket list fish, the shoal bass, for so many anglers out there, right? Obviously I designed that Crescent kayak Shoalie, and its nickname, obviously, the shoal bass's nickname is the Shoalie, so that's why I named it like that. And I'm from Georgia originally, so the shoal bass is going to be a cool fish people can go catch for the first time. I've caught several over 7 pounds. They get really big.
Oh, wow.
And a cool fun fact about the shoal bass that people don't know is the fact that other black bass species, the males are pretty small and the females get big. So really, we're only targeting like 25% of the population, because there's only half of the females that are even big. If that, probably not even half. Really, it's probably more like, the ones that we need for a tournament that would actually matter is probably like 15% of the total bass population. The ones we really want to catch, those females, because there's probably more young ones than there are older ones. So that's why I'm saying it could be 20%, whatever. You get my point. So the shoal bass, that's called sexual dimorphism. The shoal bass is unlike any other black bass. The males and the females both get big. So that's why you see so many people catching, I caught, 50 fish today or 40 fish, and like half of them were like 3 pounds and bigger. And it's like, geez, Louise. Well, no, that's because they all have the potential to get big, both sexes. So that's the Shoalie Palooza event. And that is, I'll just click on it here. You can see what a tournament page looks like. We'll be at the beautiful and historic Ritz Theater in Thomaston, Georgia. Like I said, May 3rd and 4th. And you can just click on these tabs here to get to the event details and the hourly itinerary, or you can just scroll down. That's the Flint River right there in that video. And we got other videos of the water you can fish. Like I said, there's always lakes and rivers and bounds. Just because you come to Shoalie Palooza and the shoal bass is a river fish doesn't mean you can't go fish Lake Juliet and High Falls Lake and go win with largemouth. So this is what a shoal bass looks like, by the way, the shoal bass fish photo galleries. So
wow.
Yeah, they're cool fish. They look like a smallmouth, but they have bigger mouths. So they actually can eat huge swim baits and giant stuff.
Nice.
So
you got Jeremy's attention with the big swim baits.
Yeah, this one was caught on a big swim bait. That's a 7-pound 2-ouncer. There it was 24 1/4 inches. So,
wow.
And a biologist was with me, by the way, that took the photos and measured it. So 24
nice.
Fisheries biologist Steve Salmons, that we all love. He's going to be speaking at some of these events. By the way, you did mention Do It Molds, and Do It Molds, I'm trying to get them to see that, man, these seminars on Friday, we need to have a Do It Molds, hands-on seminar at, that Friday breakfast seminar series. But yes, pretty much it. This first one here is sponsored by Innovative Sportsman, the inflatable kayaks that Jeff Little designed with Trey from Innovative Sportsman, and he rocks that inflatable. And so they're every single event, just so you know, is sponsored by a kayak company. That's why I mentioned Innovative Sportsman. And yeah, it's going to be fun, guys. Right there in Thomaston, Georgia, it tells you the lakes that are in bounds. The registration will go live in January, but there is a side pot tournament on Sunday. It's a small $20 tournament. You can Batteries Plus sponsored side pot tournament. So if you still want to fish some more, you can fish more on Sunday, but you just win like gift cards. And then we will have GoPro's Epic Edit Award at every event. So GoPro's Epic Edit, actually not at every event, starting with the second event, we're going to give a huge award to somebody who has the best edit from the very first event. So if that makes sense, you fish Georgia's event, and you don't have to be there to win. So you fish the Shoalipalooza event, and then you edit your video. You have a month to edit it, right, before the next tournament starts. They're all about a month apart, just so everyone knows. And whoever has the best edit from that first event is going to win this giant GoPro package of all this stuff from GoPro. So, and we're going to air that video on the big screen at the next tournament. So the next one after this first one would be Michigan. We're going to give away a 100-inch Century belt. That's going to be pretty cool. For anyone who ever gets over 100 inches in the tournament, you can win a 13 Fishing's $13,000 bass bounty. So basically, I'm going to tag a fish in that watershed, and if someone catches that tag fish, it's going to be worth $13,000. There's some catches to it. It's got to be on film to be 13. It's going to be less, still worth money, but less than 13 if it's just caught at all. You know what I'm saying? So, but $13,000 if you catch it and you have it on film, catching it from cast to catch. So that's a pretty cool thing. And I had to get a insurance policy, like a hole-in-one insurance policy, to cover that. Because I don't have $13,000 to pay out if somebody actually hits on that. But Omnia Fishing just came on board. They're doing a cool thing called Tackle for Trash. It's an idea I had that said, let's encourage people, like Jeff Little does, and so many of us with the trash. What was that most recent thing that was held? I think it was on Fishing Chaos. Might have been
RJM Fishtail trash pickup.
That was cool. And we did some stuff like that back in the day. And I said, I need to come up with a category or some prize that people can win tackle for trash. And so if you pick up trash, then the most unique trash item or the most trash, it's actually, I think we're going to do a little bit more than $100, like it says there, $100. But I think we just agreed we're going to do a little bit more than that, or maybe offer a $100 gift card and a $50 gift card, to two people at each event. So that's just kind of something fun, and that it's not during the tournament. It can be, but it's also during pre-fishing. So you pick up some trash, that way you're not wasting tournament time digging up some crazy old sink or whatever it is out of the water, But who knows what people are going to find, and that's going to be cool because they can bring it into the theater and show it, or they can take a picture or video and we can put it on the big screen, and it just really encourages people to pick up, stuff out of the lake of the river.
Dude, I had the best piece of trash come out of Gunnersville from the KBF event. I literally caught a 20-inch plastic nitro boat.
No way.
What was worse, it was day one with time running out, and I missed getting my limit just by minutes because of this stupid boat. But I did have the most unique piece of trash.
That is unique. That would have won. That probably would have won the tackle for trash.
Oh, man.
That's cool. And then let's see, where were we? Yes, we're going to raffle off a kayak. I didn't mention this, guys. We're raising money for pediatric cancer. We're also raising money for the local river keepers at each event. So we're trying to support them by raffling off. And that's, by the way, when every event is sponsored by a kayak manufacturer, they're donating a kayak for that event to be raffled off, not given away to the winner. The winner's already going to get enough, right? They're going to win the money, and that's enough.
Yep.
We're going to raffle this off for pediatric cancer. So that's pretty cool. And that all those funds are going to the Punt Foundation. That if you ever listen to Alex Rudd,
we are very aware and in touch with Alex. We understand his father, Jeremy, and I lost our mother a couple years ago due to cancer. And our father has suffered from cancer from Agent Orange several times. So we are very, very big into supporting Alex and the Punt Foundation. 100%.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool, guys. That's awesome. And I think it's going to be a great charity to do this first year and really see some. And the cool thing, again, about using the theater is we can put we can put pictures and video of people that potentially lives that we changed or affected on the screen, just to give a short message to everybody at the next event, to talk to us. It's kind of this cool. I just love this theater kind of concept. It's just going to be a lot of fun. Then the kids are getting a kayak at each event. The top youth wins a kayak, so that's pretty cool. Crescent Kayaks, and that's a huge thanks also to 5 Star Heating and Air out of Pennsylvania. Kevin Pudilovich, I'm saying his name wrong, I'm sure, but he was like, man, I love what you're doing. He met me on the river at the Susquehanna tournament. I think it was a Hobie a couple years ago. And we've just always stayed in touch, and I helped him out on the water, gave him some tips and whatever. And then he was like, man, I want to support it. And I know I'm not a national heating and air company. It's not like he's some national. He's just kind of regional there in Pennsylvania, but he's chipping in a little bit too, to make sure every kid gets a kayak along with Crescent at these events, the winter. So that's pretty cool.
That's real cool.
Yeah. Opening ceremonies, guys. I'll run through this quick. Closing ceremonies. This is just kind of showing you where all the locations are for every part of the weekend, or the week, I should say. And we even have recommended lodging and camping. So you don't have to do a lot of research on your own. If you want to go and do it on your own, you can, but all you have to do really is either go to Airbnb or click on the hotels or places we have listed here. Mm-hmm. We have recommended fishing kayak retailers and restaurants and bars in town, and non-fishing activities like, heck, if you're bringing the family, which is what we encourage people to do to these events, obviously, welcome to bring the family. We have plenty of stuff for them to do, and they can be doing this kind of stuff here on the recommended non-fishing activities section. So hikes at Sprewell Bluff, or go see the little White House, and go to Callaway Gardens, go skydive from Skydive Atlanta right there, wild animal safari. So there's all kinds of cool things like this on every tournament page that's listed. And then there's actually a friends and family excursion on Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m. at every tournament too. So you're not just kind of like on your own with your family. No, you can be together with other families that are, spouses of potentially or whatever of, somebody that's in the tournament. So it's pretty cool. And then we got the breakfast, like I said, on Friday. And then this one here, we're going to have Dr. Salmons talk about, and I don't know if he's a doctor or not, but he's a biologist, Travis Ingram, about shoal bass. And then we're going to have a YouTube panel on filming your fishing and growing your socials. And Jeff Little and I are going to talk about river fishing secrets we don't want to divulge. So, or rather, should I say river fishing secrets I hate when Jeff divulges. So
yeah, there you go.
He wants to divulge. I kind of, fishing tournaments don't want to divulge everything, but we're going to do it there. And then we have a kayak fishing faith fellowship at Saturday at 5:30 at the theater. So we always have a little bit of a fellowship there. A lot of them are going to be held by Matt Ball for the ones he attends. Mm-hmm. So that'll be pretty cool. And then here's our charities and the river keepers we're supporting. So that's just one event. And then you can see down here is kind of more your detailed itinerary of when you need to be where, what's happening. So you can't mess up really, it's like all there. And then at every tournament page, we have your legal water, like eligible water. And it just tells you these are your core bodies of water, your Flint River, Ocmulgee, Chattahoochee, Lake Juliet, and High Falls Lake. And then over here on the map, it shows you where there's a launch boundary upstream and downstream, on the map. So if there are no launch boundaries, then you can go up as far or north or south as you want on those bodies of water. But obviously at some point they trickle out into nothing. So,
right.
But anyway, we keep everyone basically within an hour of the tournament headquarters here in Thomaston, because we want you guys to be able to get back to have fun at that, ceremony and the festivals. But basically, if there's any free flowing creek or canal or river that's feeding into any of these core bodies of water here, then you're good to go. So it's pretty cool. I even have a cool flow chart here. You can click on it. This helps you figure out if it's a legal, public launch or not using the Farwide app or Onyx or, county GIS mapping. Yeah. So this is a pretty cool, easy flow chart. It looks like there's a lot there, but there's really not. It's pretty easy. You can follow that flow chart. Mm-hmm. It's just there's only 3 ways land is listed: public, private, or not specified. And you just follow that direction. And if it's public, then it's approved. If it's private, you just got to follow these things, and you'll easily be able to tell if it's something that is legal or not for you to launch there. So that's kind of it, guys. That's the tournament page. There's one more thing. I did make a preview video for every single tournament detailing the eligible water, and I walk you through it in a short, 5-10 minute YouTube video, just kind of zooming in, showing you the upstream launch boundary, the downstream, things like that. And I kind of walk you through it. So, yeah, that's pretty much
real quick, if you would, for everybody listening on the podcast later, kind of go through like the schedule of all of the different areas, and like you had the shoal bass being basically the target for the first one. Touch on each event for us real quick.
Sure.
And kind of tell us what your target was, and then why there's something so special about each one of these areas, because what a lot of people may not realize just looking at a list, these are really a kayak angler, bass anglers, like a destination places.
Exactly. They are dream destinations. You're going to catch a lot of fish, good numbers of fish. Even if we have 200, 300, 400 people at these tournaments, you're all going to have a very good chance to still find some water to yourself, because we have so many river miles, creek miles, and lakes in play, which is cool. Because, I've never heard anybody complain that they were alone on tournament day ever. That's the goal, right? You want to find, a spot where you can be alone, and obviously it doesn't always work out, but they're destinations, like you said, with great fishing. And the first one with the shoal bass, fisheries are incredible in Georgia. And the second one we go to on June 7th and 8th is they all have a festival name, just so you know. And for the audio listeners, it's called Wild Whitehall in Whitehall, Michigan. So we're going to Wild Whitehall, and it's going to be basically a battle between smallmouth and largemouth there, because that tournament has a bunch of water from basically it's the east side of Lake Michigan, and there's 3 or 4 rivers that are flowing into it, out of Michigan. Well, there's several, there's probably even more than that, but there's several major ones that create these, good sized lakes. There's Muskegon Lake, there's White Lake, there's Spring Lake, there's, the Grand River. Basically it's estuary lakes where it dumps into Lake Michigan. And then there's little teeny narrow shipping canals that they actually keep it deep for the ships to come in and out of basically those lakes, those bays. And right there at the end of that little shipping canal is the boundary. You're not allowed to go into main Lake Michigan proper. So as long as you stay in those lakes and then go inland up the rivers and creeks as far as you want to go until our launch boundary is there, right? You're good to go. So it's this cool game between, do you go after these big largemouth, and I say big because, trust me, I mean, you guys were telling me before in the green room that northern Indiana's got the bigger smallmouth, not southern Indiana. Yep. And trust me, there's some big greenfish up in Michigan. So there's a lot of vegetation. It reminds me of La Crosse, Wisconsin. So people are going to catch 4, 5, and 6 pounders up there at that tournament, largemouth. At the same time, good smallmouth up the river. So people are going to catch really nice smallmouth too. So you're going to get some 19, 20-inch smallmouth around there and bigger. So what do? Do you go lake? Do you go river? It's whatever your heart desires, because and whatever your sort of personality and preference and kayak style allows you to do, right? So that's Whitehall, Michigan, the second one. Lots of cool stuff for the family to do, by the way, in that area. Hang on, let me take a sip of water. I talk fast. I go hard here. Got to take a sip of water every once in a while. July 12th and 13th. Again, they're all about a month apart. Ozarkana, Poplar Bluff, Missouri. And Ozarkana is basically, what's cool about this area is it's the Ozarks, but it's in the town that's actually called and known as the gateway to the Ozarks. So it's the very, very start of them. And I say start meaning start from the east. Okay, so this is far southeast Missouri as you can possibly get, basically. And that means it's only 3.5 hours from Nashville, just to give you an idea how close. Because some people think, oh my gosh, Missouri, that's like way over there. It's far away from me. Not this place in Missouri. Maybe you go all the way across the state. Sure, you try to go to Kansas City or whatever. It's a long way. But for most of the bass fishing kind of population of the country, this is going to be pretty close. And for anyone in the Ozarks, the Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, of course, it's still going to be close for you guys too. So that's what we're excited about here, is the fact that you're going to tackle Ozark lakes and rivers, clear water Ozark lakes and rivers. But because it's the gateway to the Ozarks, it actually sits, right at the base of where the mountains start. So everything to the south and to the east is actually Mississippi River floodplain. So it's kind of flat. You got murkier water. Your largemouth are probably going to be a little bit bigger player there. Your spotted bass, stuff like that's going to play there. And your prettier kind of water, if you want to call it that, your bluer, clearer water, could be tougher fishing, could have bigger fish. I don't know, but that's going to be north and to the west. So it kind of goes at an angle there. And that's the gateway to the Ozarks and Poplar Bluff. And we'll just have to see what happens. I'm pretty sure that one's going to be another battle between, I think all three species will play, because people do catch regularly 16, 17-inch spotted bass there. So that's going to be crazy to see. And we actually have some cool lakes and bounds. We have one lake that's called Duck Creek Conservation Area that reminds me of a Florida lake where they just flooded the whole rectangle, right? The whole field. But it's giant. Okay. So there's cypress trees, there's lily pads, there's vegetation. It's going to be like frogging in Louisiana or Texas, East Texas. But you're in a Ozarkana tournament. You're thinking Ozarks, you're thinking Clearwater. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see that dichotomy kind of take place and see, do the lakes win, the rivers win? Is it the Clearwater Ozarks? Is it the murkier water in the floodplains? It's a lot to kind of, like I said at the beginning, we want more diversity and more ways to win and styles and places to win. So it's going to be cool to figure out what happens at that one. The next one, August 9th and 10th, is the Fiesta on the Susky in Towanda, Pennsylvania. That's the north branch of the Susquehanna River. And that is just named River of the Year, actually. So that's the River of the Year right now for Pennsylvania. Crystal clear water, beautiful, just giants. It's the Susquehanna. That's the only one, by the way, does not have any lakes in bounds. There are no lakes to even put in bounds. But it's the Susquehanna. No one goes there to go fish a lake. I promise you that. And there's plenty of 20-inch smallmouth up there in that river. And I won't say his name, but he sent me a message. He went fishing there about 2 weeks ago. A guy who is very known for being a Susquehanna hammer. And they caught between two of them in a boat. They were floating down in a boat. And he's a kayak angler, but they were floating a boat. They caught, I think he said 147 fish between the two of them. This is like 2 weeks ago. And he said that they had 90-inch bags like on repeat. I mean, I don't know how many times, like 10 times. I mean, it was crazy. Wow. So that's going to be a fun event. And that's, I don't know. It's pretty much that. I mean, it's the Susquehanna, so there's a lot of cool stuff to do there as well.
Definitely a dream list river place for Jeremy and I for sure. We'll definitely be at that one.
Yeah, it's somewhere we haven't been yet. And by the way, that tournament and the very first one, the cities are really going way above and beyond. They're actually holding festivals like on top of our festival. So like in conjunction with it, that makes sense. So they're putting more, like the Shoalipalooza. They're telling me we're gonna have 3,000 to 7,500 people at that tournament, not fishing the tournament, but at that like Saturday event.
Just people to be there.
They're gonna trickle into the theater, so it's gonna be crazy, a lot of fun. The next one is September 6th and 7th, the Wisconsin River Fest, and that's in Sauk Prairie, Wisconsin, on the Wisconsin River. And that, guys, I'm telling you, Christine Fisher, for example, she sent me a message, and I've said this on every podcast I've gone on because it blew me away. She sent me a message, or she posted on Facebook when we announced that one, saying that she's definitely going to make that one or she's planning on it because she feels the Wisconsin River. This is a strong statement. She said, and she said this publicly, like on Facebook, I feel it's better than the Susquehanna. Like better. Like that's insane. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I did my research really well. Obviously I've traveled the country, so I know where a lot of good, fisheries are. So I'm not taking us to places that aren't worth it. I promise you that, but here I just wasn't ever expecting someone to say it could be better than the Susquehanna. They think it is better because they fished it and they fished the Susquehanna. She has. Mm-hmm. And then people posted on her comment. They replied to her posting like 21-inch smallmouth that were as tall as they were long. I mean, they were 6-7 pounders. And then I realized that we may be onto something here for the Wisconsin River Fest. And there's a cool lake called Lake Wisconsin that the river is dammed up and creates. That's going to be your lake, and that's got some. And there's a lot of nice oxbows and stuff and backwaters that have a lot of big largemouths. So don't overlook the largemouth at that tournament either, because that's going to. I mean, this definitely going to be a battle of two species depending on how you want to fish. That one's really cool. It's near the Wisconsin Dells, if you know where that is. Excuse me, that's like the tourism part of Wisconsin. If you're familiar with Wisconsin, a lot of people from Chicago go there. Madison, obviously, you got that like tourist part. Basically it's scenic. You got the lake, the river, and all that there, but you also have your typical like amusement parks and mini golf, stuff like that. It's like a Dollywood, but not quite as probably as crazy as Dollywood. It's going to be a really good one for the family to come to, and that's September 6th and 7th. And I'm telling you, man, the brewery we're going to be at on that one is going to be like, it's right on the river. It's gigantic. It's brand new. And then we're going to have our whole thing kind of like, you know, the Thursday night opening ceremonies there. It's just going to be a really fun spot because next door to the brewery is a pizzeria and bowling alley combined. It's a cool spot called the Riviera. And I can see people going and hanging out and bowling and just having a lot of fun at that event. And then right next to that,
that's one of those you stay a couple extra days after. I'm not in a hurry to go back to work.
Exactly. Yep. You stay afterwards. I really feel like a lot of people are going to use that Sunday to maybe go play golf or do something they all like to do together. Like you're saying, go bowling, sleep in, do other fun stuff, go with a hike with the family or something cool like that. So that's going to be a good one for sure. And then, but right next to that, literally combined, they're all right next to each other, is a wilderness fish and game store. And it has that's not like some little teeny tackle shop in a gas station. This is like a legit, like in a shopping center combined with that bowling alley, big outdoor store that has everything you would need, everything we need for that tournament. You can get it right there. You don't got to go far at all. So that's pretty cool. The Broodstock is the final one, and we call our championship Broodstock. It's kind of a play on Woodstock, you know, this whole festival theme. But Broodstock, if you don't know, is the term that the fisheries biologists used when they spawn the two biggest, you know, fish that they can get out of the public lakes and rivers. When they use their shock boats just to kind of shock them up, you know, and stun them, and they grab them with a net, bring them back to the hatcheries, and they put the two biggest bass together to create offspring that they eventually stock in our lakes and rivers, right? That's kind of how it works. And they call those big fish Broodstock. So Broodstock is our championship finale name every year. This is Broodstock 1, obviously. And it'll be a lot of fun in 7, 8, 9, 10 years when people look back and say, man, I was at the original Broodstock, you know, Broodstock 1. It was crazy. And we were pushing each other in the bushes at 2 a.m. and it was just crazy fun. And so that's it's just a cool name. It's got a good ring. It's our Bassmaster Classic, or it's our Red Crest, whatever you want to call it. We just didn't want to call it.
You're going to have to come up with a cool T-shirt. So, you know,
for sure, man.
That's got to be something that people can show off. Like you said, 6, 7 years down the road, showing like the OG Broodstock shirt.
The Broodstock. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. And I need to change this. It's actually public now. I need to add this on the website. But we are actually going to Bowling Green, Kentucky. So not far from you guys.
No, not at all.
Not far at all. And we are working towards getting that even that Corvette museum involved in some of these activities and festivities in the motorsports park there, where you can drive the go-karts and race cars. So it's pretty cool. And this, you know, I can end this screen now, but basically it all comes down. The Broodstock Championship is not something you qualify for. So that's why we're not even calling it a championship. We're just calling it Broodstock. It's just the biggest finale festival there is. However, at Broodstock, which is an open tournament to anybody, you could just show up to that one all year. And that's fine. At Broodstock, we will know the winner of our Angler of the Year and Team of the Year, because they've been accruing points throughout the year. You can go on the website and see how that works, but it's pretty simple. I mean, you've got to fish 2 of the 5 regular season events. Just 2. That's it. 2 of the 5. Not some big, you know, big amount. Kayak, there you go. Someone should take you up on that kayak.
I should coin that.
Yeah, you should. But actually, I will share the screen back real quick and show one thing. And for the people that are listening to audio, you just have to go back and watch this. But I wanted to just make sure everyone knows Broodstock's not a championship that you have to, you know, qualify for. Okay, so anybody can show up to it. And it's going to be a ton of fun, one big bash. And we need to get you guys on here. And you can fill out this form, by the way. This is our content creators page, recommended content creators and podcasters. You guys can, anyone out there can fill out this form. It'll take you down to the bottom. Fill out this form, and let's get anybody on this, you know, on this page, so we can help promote what you guys are doing. Because we're all about, again, promoting everybody and growing the entire sport. It's silly, but it's the rising tide raises all ships sort of theory, right? And we mean that so much, to such an extent that, I mean, we post, you know, any state kayak fishing clubs here. Some of these might be holding joint events with us. If you want to hold like a joint event with us, you can click here and fill out this form and hold, you know, a joint event with us. Your local club can have an event just basically on top of ours. And we can let you use that theater for the awards for your event, which is kind of cool, having a cool stage like that. But I also wanted to show you guys, we have national tournament trails listed here. Your Bassmaster, your kayak bass fishing, your native watercraft, big bass power hour, your Hobie Bass Open Series, All American Series. We are all about promoting others and everybody in this whole thing. It's not, and if that costs us in, someone didn't know about whatever, a native power hour, they hear about it and they go there, whatever. We're trying to get people to, like I said, you're only required to fish 2 of the 5 if you want to be in our AOI race. I mean, yeah, people might fish 3 or 4 to give themselves a mulligan or 2, right? But I mean, 2 of the 5 is not very much, but you got to be at broodstock to determine who's the winner. So that would be 3 total. A very minimum, that's just 3 tournaments. There's plenty of other time and weekends.
Wisconsin, Bowling Green.
Yeah, there you go. Knocked it out right there. And so, I mean, it's gonna be hard to miss Shoaly Palooza. I tell you that. That's the one I think most people are targeting because they want to catch a shoal bass. But anyway, it's gonna be hard for me. I've been to them all and I've seen them. I know the waters. I know why I chose those places. And by the way, I know it's an obvious answer to this question for me, but some people don't know this. But I'm not fishing in these. I'm just running them, and I don't even have access to Tourney X. Amanda Brannon and Real Tournament Management, or who I hired and outsourced to handle the tournament management side of things, because let's say Bassmaster or Hobie or whoever, KBF, want to go to one of these venues, because I'm not going to these venues the next year. I'm always going to 5 new places, or 6 new places, 6 new places, just because this is, again, it's Kayak Adventure Series. It's not kayak same exact adventure. It's a new adventure, right? I guess the word new's not in there, but it's a new adventure. That's the whole point. Is, to me, I play golf. Well, not anymore. I used to, but one of the most, I got kids and got busy, whatever. So I don't really play a lot of golf anymore. But when I used to, my most exciting times were when I would go to a new golf course. Like, I've never seen this course. This is going to be fun. It's all fresh and new. And in fishing, I feel the same way. I want to go fish a new section of river or a new lake or a new creek. I don't want to go back to what I've already floated and seen. It gets old to me. Obviously, if the fishing's great, sure, go back. But I don't like doing these national tournament trails where it's the same location again. And I have nothing to scout in the winter, nothing to research online. There's no anticipation because I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. It's like done. Man, it really is like back when you were dating and the anticipation of you met someone new and there's this whole game and you got to learn about them and figure it out. And then like the anticipation, if I could talk, anticipation leading up to that first date or first kiss or whatever was like, honestly, most of the fun. It was that. And that to me is tournament fishing too. A lot of it's about the winter and all this anticipation leading up. So we're going to new places, and if Bassmaster wants to follow us or whoever, cool. I'll pass along that tourism info because I'm not going there. And I want those folks to be able to go there, and I want to be able to fish those events and not be where someone says, well, Drew has all the waypoints and where all the fish were caught from the Wisconsin River Fest. So Amanda Brannon's my third party that keeps me totally out of the loop, and I don't even have access to it. So I want to be absolved of any of that, because I feel like with my style of fishing, I have to go a little bit above and beyond all the time to make sure I'm above reproach or whatever. Just, like even the tournament that was protested, this Bassmaster, when I told the tournament director before the tournament, I'm fishing right here. I've cleared it. I've gone down. I've made sure I can stay in my kayak and go through the whole thing in practice. And he was like, all right, cool. You're good. A lot of people don't know that I literally showed them on my phone and told them where I was fishing beforehand and gave my phone sharing to Mark Cisneros, the photographer for Bassmaster. So he knew where I was the whole time in case he wanted to get a picture. But anyway, my style of fishing, I got to be completely above, reproach or whatever. Is that the right word? Reprieve? Reproach?
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I think you guys know what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like there's an extra, amount. That's why I filmed the whole thing with my GoPros too, which helped me. But in this situation, I'm still fishing the national trails, mostly Bassmaster, just because I kind of have to whittle down. I'm running these, right? So I can't fish them all like I used to.
Yep.
But now it's cool. Part of that decision is I can bring my family to these things. You know what I mean? I was away from my family for 12 or 13 or 14 weeks of the year, and I got young kids. So this is cool. It's like, I can still fish 6 or 7 other tournaments and run 6 of these. And at least my family will be with me at most of these. I don't know if they'll be able to make everyone, but most of them. So it's not really time away. It's time still enjoying the family. So that's pretty much the deal, guys. If anyone has any questions, we can
I think you've literally answered everything that's come along as it's kind of come up, but I think there's a lot of excitement. Like I said, a lot of the folks fish there, they've fished the KBF Knucklehead thing, which is like our version of the Challenge Series. And then we had a championship, but for us, it's a good training ground to get people into fishing these kind of things. And then with like what you're doing, you're taking that to even the next step where it's still a tournament, but it's still recreational, but it's still a tournament. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that we all love to get together, because we had, 10 different YouTubers, us and Gene and Chad and John from Creek Fishing and a whole bunch of others. And, sure, there was a tournament involved, but there was a lot of people, like you said, meeting their virtual friends at these places. And that's the best thing you talk about, like on the Thursday and Friday nights. And even on a Sunday when it's all said and done, other people may go play golf and this and that. There might be 10 or 15 of us that go meet back at the river and do a 15-person float and just go catch more fish and get it on video and have a good time.
That's right. Exactly.
So,
That'd be cool.
And that's the kind of, I'm thinking about what kind of GoPro content can I, create. That's, I'm already throwing out there what I'm thinking for promoting the events and stuff too. But
yeah, man.
Look, dude, I know you got to get on a plane tomorrow and go do a photo shoot for Crescent tomorrow. So I will not keep you any later than possible. But we thank you for coming with us, hanging out, and we're going to continue to spread the word, because we love, like you said, we promote all the kayak bass fishing things. For us, it's recreational therapy, and we're all about being inclusive and bringing everybody together, enjoying the sport, the outdoors, the friends, the family. That's what we're all about too. Absolutely. So I can tell by scrolling through your Instagram feed and Facebook, you're the exact same type of people we are. And you just fish at a higher level, but that's the fun thing about it, is events like this bring us all together, and it's going to be a great. Yeah. This is going to be fun.
It really does, man. And I will say that if you see Russ or Christine or Jody, all who have told me they're probably going to come to some of the events because it sounds fun to them, then if you guys see them and any big names show up on the roster, I just want to remind people a couple things. One, you can beat. You don't know what you can do until you go out there and try. You could potentially beat. It's like when Ike and Ellie signed up for the tournaments. Everyone's like, "Oh God," it scares some people away. But you just don't know until you go. A and B. It's 5 fish only for 2 days. Some people struggle to get 5 in one day, but you're getting an extra 4 hours. So you may not catch 30 or 40 fish or whatever, 50 fish, and Russ or Guillermo or Cody Milton or whoever might catch 40 or 50 fish. But if you catch the right 8. You see what I'm saying? The right 9, the right 5. That's what's cool about bass fishing. It's not like it's a 1 fish thing, but it's not a 30 fish limit. It's 5. So it gives everyone a chance, especially given the extra 4 hours. It gives you a chance to correct an error, if you make a mistake on day 1, you go to the wrong place. Hey, I didn't waste my whole day. I figured it out. I fixed my error. On another tournament, if it's just 5 fish each day, you can't recover from that. You can't. Right. It's none. So that you got a shot at this one. And here's the other cool thing. I'm going to answer that. I saw what Pi Squared said that. I'm going to answer that question too before I leave. The other thing is when they're coming to these events, especially the Russes and Christines, I'm actually going to see Russ on my trip here. I'm doing the American Canoe and Kayak Fishing Association certification for kayak fishing.
You're doing that training with Jeff?
Yes, the training with Jeff Little and all this. So I'm going to talk to Russ, but I don't think he'll mind doing like a seminar at some of these as well. And of course, you're there and you can at least meet and hang out with, because we have the social time built in. Yep. The celebrities and the people you're fans of. So it's not like you see them and it's like, oh, hey, and they're just gone. And then you're competing against them, and it's challenging for sure. But there's a lot of other ways that you got the micro bag division. There's a lot of other cool ways you can win too, and you just don't know. So I don't want people to ever be scared off by, if they see some big names entering it, don't be afraid by that at all, because they're going to be there. They're cool people. They'll help you. They'll teach you stuff, help you learn. Like I said, I'll have them do some seminars, and it's going to be a reason to go, not go, if that makes sense.
Right.
And then,
well, I mean, for us, it's like, just to expand on that a little bit. Jeremy and I met Alex Miller and his mom at the KBFNC, Lynn, and they were just the most awesome people. we sat there and talked to Casey Reed after that, and then we really got to know Russ, because now Russ, and we have a running joke with Russ, every time we see him in an event, he probably wins the event, because it happened like 3 times in a row.
He's been on fire. I told him.
So, I mean, yeah, that dude is something else too, but it's just a funny thing that, it happens too.
That is wild.
So,
but,
yes.
You
did have that question about, do you have a new kayak?
I am working on a new kayak, so for sure we got some new stuff coming out. Things don't go as fast as you always want them to go, but it is in the works, and you'll see stuff. Like next year, you'll see something. So I don't know when exactly, can't say when, but next year you'll see a new kayak from Crescent, and then a new sort of version of a kayak. You'll see a couple new things. Actually, you'll see more than a couple. You see like 3 or 4 new things from Crescent, but things that I'm kind of directly working on, just 1 or 1.5, if that makes any sense, which it will when the kayaks come out. But we're excited about that stuff. And then the only last thing I'll mention, I'll leave you guys with, because again, we just can't cover everything. Go read and check out the rules, because I put in the rules, I put YouTube videos around every little spot that's got a unique rule. For example, you can use 2 rods at one time in the Kayak Adventure Series. Well, why? Why do we have that as a rule? Just there's a YouTube video explaining that. You have that big smallmouth is following it. You can throw in with the other rod, catch it. If it's legal in the state, it helps you catch more fish. Trolling, we allow trolling with 2 rods.
Okay.
We allow motors, but here's why motors being allowed is not at all going to hinder you if you don't have a motor from winning or doing well, because in the YouTube videos will explain all that, why it actually balances it out, and you can still fish those little sneaky spots and access in the places that people with motors aren't going to access. So you're going to be able to get to some spots that actually it's good that people have motors, because otherwise more people might be accessing these little cool creeks and rivers and sneaky spots here. So it kind of just levels it all out. It's pretty cool.
I'll definitely be bringing both of my kayaks, the autopilot and my little sportsman paddle, just because.
Definitely. You definitely got to do that. So just check out those rules. They're pretty cool. And then the Angler of the Year, read that. I didn't go into it, but we do our points a little bit differently, and it's pretty cool. And you should see why. It's basically, the short version is it's a percentage. Whoever wins the tournament, imagine they're 100%. They're 100 points always. Yep. Well, then just for argument's sake, 100 inches, if they get 100 inches, if you get 90, no matter what place you're in 2nd place or you're in 12th place, you have 90. It doesn't even matter if it's multiple people tie at 90, you all get 90 points. So you see what I'm saying? It's always a percentage. So you get rewarded and punished, and the angler who does really good gets rewarded or punished, or rewarded, I should say. If they blow the field out, it's worth a gap in AOY. You see what I'm saying? You blew everybody out. Like everybody else had 10 inches less than you. You deserve a little bit more than 1 point less than the guy you beat, or the bunch of people you beat, like 10, 11, 12 inches. So it's a cool little thing. You guys got to check it out. Lance Cooley started doing that with his local club in Alabama. He told me about it. I love it. It creates decimal points, which means there's never any ties. Go watch that video. It's pretty cool. So.
Okay. All right, 2 fast questions, then I'm going to let you go.
Yeah, man.
Which event do you think will break 100?
I think the Shoalapalooza will break 100. I think that one will for sure, because it's a day and a half, and shoal bass get regularly over 20 inches. So you can. And
then the last question is, give us the URL for the website so they know where to find it.
All right. Well, it's kayakadventureseries.com, and you can find us on social media, Instagram, Kayak Adventure Series, Facebook and all that. If I had to say another one, it's probably an event that might hit 100. I would say it's going to be tough, man. I bet you Wisconsin has a real good chance of hitting over 100.
Oh, okay.
But Michigan and the Susquehanna do as well. I think the hardest one to get 100 might be Poplar Bluff, Missouri.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be close. I think someone's going to be in the mid-90s at that one. I think all the rest of them are going to be close to 100, if not 100 or more. That's what I think.
Right,
I think even the brood stock, even Kentucky, I think we'll get close to 100, if not 100. It's going to surprise you guys.
If you're out there looking to catch your PB on a catch board, these events are going to be some of the best places to do it.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Guys, I love it, man. Thanks again.
All right. Excellent. All right, Drew, we're going to let you go. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Anybody else out there, hey, comments, questions, drop them down below in the YouTube video link to this. I will go through and find all of the socials and drop them in the description down below. Jeremy, you got anything for us tonight?
Nope.
Yeah, all right, my dude.
Sorry,
As
Jeremy, did I
always,
talk like the whole time, man? Jeremy didn't get hardly a word in.
Jeremy's my silent partner.
I do the fishing, and
There
he
you
does
go.
the
Yep.
talking.
So if you guys enter as a team, you're going to be responsible for the fishing, and he's going to
he
talk on
knows.
stage.
He does all of our scouting. He's the one that led our team to beat both Chad and Gene down at the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series, and we came in second. And we lost by a last minute fish. We led all day, but Jeremy's work did the work. But yeah, we beat Chad and Gene, which was our goal. So we can't complain about that whatsoever.
You guys, man.
All right,
that's
folks. Thanks for joining us tonight. And as always, get outside when you can and make some memories, one cast at a time.